Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Spivac. So without further ado, let's get to the first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the flyweight division, Taira versus Jesus Aguilar. And how I feel about this one right here is going Taira to win. I feel like Aguilar is a pretty solid fighter. I feel like both guys kind of fall definitely more into the grappling category. I feel like Aguilar's love of the guillotine will end up with him being on his back a lot. And I feel like Taira will be more than prepared to out-grapple him. I think overall he's the better grappler. And the fact that Aguilar is so in love with the guillotine, I feel like that will end up with him on his back a lot. And I feel like Taira will take full advantage of that and be able to capitalize and just ride that top position a lot in this fight. I feel like he'll be the better striker, better overall fighter. And I think definitely he'll exploit that dependency on the guillotine of Aguilar's and have him on the bottom position. Just look this control transition and just be a step ahead of him throughout the fight. And I see him beating him by decision. So in this one, I have Taira via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Jung Park versus Dennis Tiuliulin. And how I see this one right here is Tiuliulin packs a big power. He's aggressive, but has not shown very good grappling. Matter of fact, I think most of his losses, if not all of them, have come to getting taken down and submitted, or grappling in some sort has played a big factor in him losing. So his grappling has not shown any improvement. It's not like he had to show any in his last fight. He just ran through his opponent pretty easily. Now he's taking a big step up in competition against Jung Park. And Park, I feel, is the more technical striker. Maybe doesn't have as much steam on his punch, but definitely a far more technical striker. And he has very underrated wrestling and very underrated grappling. I think he can mix his boxing up and then blend his grappling in there and start to drag Tiuliulin down, wear on him, and then tap him out second round. So in this one, I have Jung Park via second round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the women's flyweight division, Ji-Yeon Kim versus Mandy Bohm. And how I see this one right here is very tight matchup to be honest. I know a lot of people feel like Bohm just sucks and Kim's all right, but Kim's not good either. Two fighters that aren't very good. But Kim at least has shown him pulse and has looked good against decent competition, whereas Bohm has been dominated in both her fights by, lackluster competition. Yes, the styles play a factor in both those losses, but still can't really back her based off of that. And I feel like Kim should be able to land the heavier shots, stay pressing, maybe match her in value, maybe to hurt her some points in this fight, but I think Kim's power and her experience will be her biggest weapons and tools in this one. So in this one, I got Ji-Yeon Kim via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the flyweight division for the road to UFC finale of the flyweight tournament section of that competition. We have Hyun Sung Park versus Seung-Guk Choi. And how I feel about this one is I just think Hyun Sung Park is just a little bit better everywhere than Seung-Guk Choi, and I think that's how the fight will play out. Maybe he'll better materialize the finish, maybe not. Matter of fact, I think he probably materialize like a third round TKO, or I'm gonna say second round TKO over Seung-Guk Choi. I just feel like, again, he's just a couple steps ahead in every single area and just overall the better fighter. None of these guys is necessarily bad or anything. It's just that one guy just like he has him covered in every area. Fight IQ, striking, grappling, situational awareness, all of that stuff, just a step or two ahead in every single category. So in this one, I have Hyun Sung Park via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division for the road to UFC bantamweight finale. We have Rinya Nakamura versus Toshiyomi Kazama. And how I see this one right here is I got Rinya Nakamura. I feel like with his wrestling background, he should be able to keep this on the feet so that the grappler will have to strike with him. And I just feel like Rinya Nakamura is just the overall, more polished and better fighter. Kazama might be, like, say, the more, like, he has a little bit more experience. He might be the guy that's more in depth with MMA. But as far as, like, practically using it and, like, just using your skill set, I feel like Rinya Nakamura is in a better position. Because with his wrestling, he can keep us on the feet. Then on the feet, he's just a much more proven striker. And he has the power, the technique, the athleticism. So he can prevent Kazama from getting to his strength, which is the BJJ. So I feel like Nakamura should be able to keep him on the feet and should be able to land some big shots and put him out. And I'm going to say first round TKO for Rinya Nakamura. So be able to stuff his takedowns, fill him out, line him up, put him out first round. So in this one, I have Rinya Nakamura via first round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the featherweight division, Yi versus Zhang Li. And I see one right here, I'm going Zhang Li, but I'm definitely not nowhere near as high as a lot of these guys are on Zhang Li. I'm not super impressed by him, but I think it's another one of these cases where the other guy just a little bit more well-rounded. That's Zhang Li. And I feel like he should be able to keep this on the fight on the feet. I feel like, well, I don't know if he'll be able to keep it on the feet. His takedown defense is not the best. I think he will get exploited a lot in the UFC, and definitely look forward to throw some money on some wrestlers against him, or some more, some fighters that do have wrestling in their game and know how to use it and exploit people that have deficiencies in wrestling defense or grappling or both. But going this way, I think he should be covered. It should be that if he gets taken down, he should be able to hold his own with Zayi and should be able to stuff most of the takedowns and should be able to hold his own in the grappling. And on the feet, I think he has a clear advantage. Where Zayi, I don't feel like he has a clear advantage anywhere in this fight. Grappling might be a better grappler, but it's not. It's up for debate till they fight. But striking wise, that's the clearest thing between these two. And Jung Lee's the bigger, stronger man, and he has the better striking. That's the clearest thing dividing these two. So size and striking. I think Jung Lee should be able to address the grappling, and then should be able to put him weight on the feet, or maybe hurt him and tap him out. But I'm gonna say definitely it's going to be set up by his striking, which is going to set up the finale. And I'm gonna say it's gonna be like a second round TKO. So in this one, I got Jung Lee via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the finale of the Road to UFC lightweight tournament in the lightweight division, Jubli versus Saragih. And how I see this one right here is Saragih presents a lot of power, a lot of explosiveness, but I feel like his technique is very much lacking. He relies very much on his physical strength and his physical prowess, and most importantly, being able to hurt people with his power. But Jubli shows good footwork, shows pretty solid boxing, and I feel like I see improvement in him. Where I feel like Saragih, he just goes out there and scrap. I don't feel like I see much technique or much like thought behind what he does. He just goes out there looking to line you up and land some the bit. Well, not even line you up, just looking to connect. Not really setting it up too much, but is imposing himself upon you, then eventually be able to connect. And then from there, like either your lights go down or your knees get weak, and then he just finishes you off or just muscles you around and stuff. But it's not a clean technique. I feel like Jubli has footwork. I feel like he has much more arsenal on the feet. I worry about his takedown defense in his wrestling area. I feel like that's a weaker area of his game, and Saragih could look to attack that. But most important thing I see for Jubli, I feel like I see room for improvement. I see the willingness to grow. Even when he talks to him about, I know I'm not among the best yet, but give me 2-3 years, I could be this. And I see him like, he could build upon it. But I feel like Saragih, he's just gonna be one of those guys that's gonna be who he is. Never gonna go far, but he's gonna be exciting. And like I said, he's gonna be a stabbing stool for a lot of people on the lower end. I don't see him as a high end stepping stool. I don't see him in the middle of the pack stepping stool. I see him as a very low end, especially at 55. There's so many good fighters. And this guy like 6'9" at 155 and got BJJ and striking and all that stuff. Like, this guy ain't going very far in the UFC, Saragih. That little midget ain't gonna be touching nobody. These giants with his limited striking and technique. So Jubli probably not go too far either. But hey, if you're looking to improve, the floor is open. But you're gonna come out there looking the same. Can't get by Saragih. Saragih can definitely win this one. I ain't going high confidence or nothing. But this is definitely a very tough fight regardless. But I gotta go Jubli. I like a guy that can has seemingly look like he has more potential and is actually gonna be able to act on it versus a guy that looked like at this level he should be the guy to win, but really see no room for evolution based on what you're saying right now, or no great evolution. So go on Jubli to use his boxing, use his footwork, make Saragih miss, make him pay. And so yeah, it's gonna see Jubli look to use his boxing, use his footwork, make Saragih miss, make him pay, address the wrestling to some extent. It's gonna be a very tight matchup. Saragih, when he's probably not getting the success he wants on the feet, gonna probably try to go heavy wrestling approach, and Jubli's gonna have to really work to get that space and land shots. But I think he will be able to get that space, land shots, and I think it's a very close fight. Maybe down the stretch he starts to unleash on a tired Saragih, but nonetheless I see this going to a decision. So in this one, I have Jubli via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our first fight on the main card in the welterweight division, Yusaku Kinoshita versus Adam Fugitt. And how I see this one right here is, I think Fugitt is a solid fighter. I just don't think he's UFC caliber. I feel like he has the skills to be UFC caliber. As far as actually coming out here and getting wins and sticking around the UFC, I see him as a guy that's going to be here and gone. Like, he has the striking, he has the grappling. Like, what's the thing? Well, he has some defensive holes on the strike. He has some defensive lapses on the feet. His chin's not the best. It's not like he has such amazing power. Like, he just missing a lot of these edges. Like, are he missing an edge? And I feel like a lot of guys kind of limited, but they do have an edge that allows them to stick in the UFC. Oh, this guy has a chin. He has a heart. He has a cardio. He has a pace or something. Or this guy has phenomenal power or something. And Fugitt, I feel like he lacks that extra variable that would make him, give him a life in the UFC. And I feel like that's what he's lacking. I feel like Kinoshita at least has power. He at least has some of it factor. He's a pretty young guy as well, and looking to improve upon that as well. So I feel like in the case where Kinoshita is going, it's gonna be a fill out process, a high level fill out process through like a minute, 2-3 minutes. Then like eventually Kinoshita is gonna be able to find that range and be able to touch him with some power. And I feel like Fugitt's knees gonna start to buckle, and he's not gonna wear that power very well. And I feel like once Kinoshita sees that reaction, I feel like it's just night for Fugitt, and Kinoshita is gonna press the gas, or he's gonna not even press the gas, not gonna go insane on him. He's just gonna start to stalk him like a wounded animal and put him out in that very first round. So in this one, I have Yusaku Kinoshita via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Duho Choi versus Kyle Nelson. And how I see this one right here is I got Duho Choi to beat Kyle Nelson. I like Kyle Nelson a solid fighter, but he's coming down in weight class. Both of the guys are, I guess, relatively similar skill levels, very relatively speaking, very loosely there. Because I'm trying to speak off a prediction style or a prediction method I use that has been working pretty well. When they're relatively close in skill set, or the other guy's better, which Duho Choi is the better guy. You don't know where he's kind of at right now, coming off this long layoff. But all these other Korean fighters coming off that deployment or that training have come back better and have got first round stoppages. So I'm expecting Duho Choi to get a first round stoppage or a second round stoppage. I'm gonna say first round stoppage over Kyle Nelson. So relatively similar skill set. Matter of fact, skill level. But Duho Choi is a guy that's been at this weight class. And matter of fact, he's the better guy, and he's got a smaller weight class. And this Kyle Nelson's guy dropping to his weight class. So in situations like that, this is the only time they really win when they drop down 90, like 1%, like less than 10% of the time is when the guy dropping down either has a style advantage or he's the better fighter. Or a clearly better fighter, not relatively little bit of a better fighter, but clearly a good edge of a better fighter. So he's not that. He don't have that style matchup, so he's dropping down. So that gives me even more confidence to lean Duho Choi. So I feel like also I see him susceptible to the straight. And Duho Choi, that's literally his best punch. So I feel like he's going to line Kyle Nelson up. He's going to be too fast, too technical, too sharp. And Kyle Nelson's going to be a little bit drained. His chin going to be even weaker because you're coming down to a lighter weight class. So he's not going to take the damage as well. He's going to have issues with the speed. And I feel like Duho Choi is going to exploit that and be able to line him up, knock him out first round. So in this one, I have Duho Choi via first round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, Marcin Tybura versus Blagoy Ivanov. And how I see this one right here is I just see a fight that's not going to be very interesting. I don't see this is a matchup where, this guy could do something in the division. This guy could do, like, both these guys is kind of stuck in where they are. And they just aren't among the best. They're in the UFC, but not among the best. They're just existing. I definitely see a pass for Ivanov. He's tough. He can pressure Tybura. He can stuff the takedowns and look to land some big shots. But the fact that he hasn't really been a materializer knockouts in the UFC, that's kind of doesn't help his case. The Tybura on the other side, he's kind of rebounded in the UFC due to his wrestling. Now he's going there with a guy that is a several time sample world champion. So that's going to be an issue for him, maybe getting some of these takedowns. I mean, it's not going to be as easy as he was able to get takedowns to other guys. He might be limited to 2 takedowns max in this fight, seemingly. But he is the faster guy. I think he is the better overall striker, but I do hate his defense. I do hate his footwork. But it's not like Blagoy Ivanov is the fastest guy. He's a slow, plodding, flat-footed fighter. So I feel like Tybura should be able to just eke by. Should be able to just eke by, just with some clinch exchanges, trying to drain some time off the clock. Probably do some high kicks, body kicks, leg kicks, and work behind the jab just a little bit. He don't really have that too much, but like I said, both of these guys are missing some parts. But it's gonna be one of the fights where they are where they are. It's gonna be a sloppy, ugly fight, not impressive at all from either guy. But Tybura just eking it by on the slimmest of margins and getting on to the next fight. So in this one, I have Marcin Tybura via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Dawoon Jung versus Devin Clark. And how I see the one right here is, I'm gonna be straight to the point. Devin Clark is a solid enough fighter, but he does have his clear issues, and I think this fight's gonna play out like a lot of his losses have played out, where he's gonna come out aggressive with the wrestling, maybe come out aggressive with the striking as well. Just come out aggressive, but Dawoon Jung gonna be able to address the wrestling, either to be able to stuff his takedowns or at least make him have to work hard for those takedowns and really give him nothing for those takedowns. Like if he get a takedown, he gonna really land no big ground and pound. And it's not like he even that guy that gets takedowns and be putting in a lot of work. Most of his takedowns just a blanket, like literally a blanket, no real good ground and pound from him, no real good control. He gets his takedowns and just at best holds on to you. So yeah, it's probably just gonna be a case where he's gonna work hard for the takedowns, do nothing with them if he does get them, or just get neutralized completely with the takedowns. Then I've seen the second round, Devin Clark started to breathe heavy. Matter of fact, even probably at the end of the first round, he started to breathe heavy. Dawoon Jung disengaged from him and started walking down, touching some big shots. But Devin Clark kind of walked shakily to his corner. In the second round, early, Jung just sparks him, puts him out. Well, not first round, puts him out second round. So in this one, I have Jung via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in our main event in the heavyweight division, Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivac. And how I see this one right here is I got Derek Lewis beating Sergey Spivac. Spivac has some good momentum right now. He's looking good. He's a young enough guy with 15-3, only got so few losses. But I'm going with historics right here. Is it right now? We can say where's Derek Lewis' motivation at? Where is this? We also is the weight cut. Getting in better shape going to help him or is going to hurt him? It's going to take away from his power. It's going to make him smaller, make him easier to throw around, make him easier to hold down. We don't know. But I'm still riding with Derek Lewis to beat him. And when I say historics, when I look at who Derek Lewis loses to, he either just loses to the better overall fighters, or he can't outside the Sergey Pavlovich fight. And Pavlovich is coming with some steam, and he does at least have finishing ability or like heavy hands. So you gotta say that kind of falls into the category. And Spivac seemingly hasn't really shown any power ever in his career like that, like ever. Like maybe ground and pound, he showed some good power, but most people that Tom Lewis loses, unless the guy just way better than him, like Daniel Cormier was, it's via striking. So Tuivasa did something similar to Mark Hunt. Like he took some of his best shots and still was there, and then that demoralizes Derek Lewis, and then he got put away. Like same way with Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt took his best shots and stayed in his face. Derek Lewis crumbled. Tuivasa took the best shots Derek Lewis had, stayed in his face. Derek Lewis crumbled. Striking, I guess you could say other people, Matt Mitrione and what's his name, striking, but they all had power. And that's at different points in his career. But as far as since he's been good, it's been guys that could take his best shots and stay in his face. Junior Santos, similar thing. But I think he's undefeated as far as these guys as far as in the UFC against these guys that's probably just looking to wrestle him. Not the most power in their hand and just looking to wrestle him. They could control him for a good couple rounds. Eventually, they wear themselves down, and Derek Lewis finds that shot and puts them out. And Sergey Spivac is falling far much more in that category. We have not really seen great striking from Sergey Spivac. If anything, what he's been doing lately has been wrestling. And Derek Lewis has been in with better wrestlers for sure, better fighters, and beating better fighter. This is by far the weakest guys Lewis has ever fought. If he loses this fight, this could be a clear sign like, oh, he's done. But I don't think he's done quite yet. And I think he's going to come back and do a vintage Derek Lewis performance, maybe even a better Derek Lewis performance. But I think it'd probably be a case where Spivac going to do his best to hold on. And also Spivac on his side has been showing like not the best cardio. Like he looks good maybe through the first round, taking people down. But even look at the Sakai fight, like he was fading in that one. Eventually he was able to materialize the finish. But all Derek Lewis indeed is one shot. And it's not, people say, oh, 5 rounds this, 5 round that. But Derek Lewis has shown the ability to knock people out at any round. So, and it's not like he's a guy that's going to be out there needing to be doing Pilates and stuff and doing jogging and doing 9-mile runs and stuff. The guy's a home run hitter. He's a home run hitter, so he's good every single round. And Spivac did this amazing strike. Also, look at Saragih, the guy that just literally just significantly better than him. Is a much higher level striking. And Spivac just falls to more so right now a grappler. His striking has never really been impressive. So I see again vintage Derek Lewis performance. Spivac trying to hold on to him. Lewis probably lands some good shots here and there, and making Spivac panic wrestle even more. Then second round, Spivac started to get tired, but he's still able to just hold on just enough to get some takedowns, not really do nothing too effective. Then third round, probably looking similar like tired, but still able to get a takedown. Then Derek Lewis does his vintage, just stand up. Then Spivac looking lost, probably going to lean on the cage a little bit, try and catch his breath. Then Derek Lewis going to be unloading on him against the cage, puts him out third round. So in this one, I got Derek Lewis via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the 4-card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Spivac. And as always, thanks for watching.